Hello and welcome to day 139 of our chronological Bible in a year reading. Today we have 2 Samuel chapters 19, 20, and 21. 2 Samuel chapter 19. And it was reported to Joab, "See, the sovereign is weeping and mourning for Absalom." So the deliverance that day was turned into mourning for all the people. For the people heard on that day, saying, "The sovereign has been grieved for his son." And the people stole back into the city that day, as people who were ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. And the sovereign covered his face, and the sovereign cried out with a loud voice, "O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son." And Joab came into the house to the sovereign, and said, "Today you have put to shame all your servants who today have saved your life, and the lives of your sons and daughters, and the lives of your wives, and the lives of your concubines. Excuse me. By loving those who hate you, and by hating those who love you. For you have made it clear today that you have neither commanders nor servants. For today I know that if Absalom had lived and all of us had died today, then it would be right in your eyes. And now arise, go out and speak to the heart of your servants. For I swear by Yahuwah, if you do not go out, not one passes the night with you." Excuse me. "And that is worse for you than all the evil that has come upon you from your youth until now." So the sovereign rose up and sat in the gate. And they told all the people, saying, "Look, the sovereign is sitting in the gate." And all the people came before the sovereign. As for Israel, they had fled, each one to his own tent. And it came to be that all the people were contending throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "The sovereign delivered us from the hand of the enemies. He rescued us from the hand of the Pelishtites. And now he has fled from the land because of Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, has died in battle. And now why are you silent about bringing back the sovereign?" And sovereign David sent to Zadok and Abiathar the Kohen, or the Kohanim, which are the priests, saying, "Speak to the elders of Yehudah, saying, why are you the last to bring the sovereign back to his house, since the words of all Israel have come to the sovereign to his house? You are my brothers, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then are you the last to bring back the sovereign? And say to Amasa, are you not my bone and my flesh? Elohim, do so to me, and more also, if you are not commander of the army before me all the days in place of Joab." Thus he swayed the hearts of all the men of Yehudah as one man, so that they sent to the sovereign, "Return, you and all your servants." So the sovereign returned and came to the Yarden, which is the Jordan River. And Yehudah came to Gilgal to go to meet the sovereign, to bring the sovereign over the Yarden. And Shimi, son of Gera, a Benjamite, who was from Bahurim, hastened and came down with the men of Yehudah to meet sovereign David. And with him were 1,000 men of Benjamin, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Shaul, and his 15 sons, and his 20 servants with him. And they rushed over the Yarden before the sovereign. And they passed over the ford to bring over the sovereign's household, and to do what was good in his eyes. And Shimi, son of Gera, fell down before the sovereign when he had passed over the Yarden, and said to the sovereign, "Do not let my master reckon wickedness to me, neither remember what wickedness your servant did on the day that my master the sovereign left Jerusalem, that the sovereign should take it to heart. For I, your servant, know that I have sinned. And see, I have come today, first of all the house of Joseph, to go down to meet my master the sovereign." But Abishai, son of Zeruiah, answered and said, "Should Shimi not be put to death for this, because he cursed the anointed of Yahuwah?" And David said, "What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah, that you are to be adversaries to me today? Should any man be put to death in Yisrael today? For do I not know that I am sovereign over Yisrael today?" So the sovereign said to Shimi, "You do not die." And the sovereign swore to him. And Mephibosheth, son of Shaul, came down to meet the sovereign. and he had not attended to his feet, nor trimmed his mustache, nor washed his garments, from the day the sovereign went away until the day he came back in peace. And it came to be, when he had come to Jerusalem to meet the sovereign, that the sovereign said to him, Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, My master, O sovereign, my servant deceived me. For your servant said, I am saddling a donkey for myself to ride on and go to the sovereign, because your servant is lame. And he spoke slander against your servant to my master the sovereign. But my master the sovereign is as a messenger of Elohim. Therefore do what is good in your eyes. For all of my father's house were but dead men before my master the sovereign. Yet you put your servant among those who eat at your own table. Therefore what right have I still to cry out any more to the sovereign? Then the sovereign said to him, Why do you speak any more of your matters? I have said, You and Ziba share the land. And Mephibosheth said to the sovereign, Rather let him take it all, since my master the sovereign has come back in peace to his own house. And Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim, and passed over the Jordan with the sovereign to send him on his way over the Jordan. And Barzillai was a very aged man, 80 years old, and he had sustained the sovereign while he was dwelling at Mahanaim, for he was a very rich man. And the sovereign said to Barzillai, Pass over with me, and I shall provide for you with me in Jerusalem. But Barzillai said to the sovereign, How many are the days of my life that I should go up with the sovereign to Jerusalem? I am now 80 years old. Do I discern between the good and evil? Does your servant taste what I eat or what I drink? Do I still hear the voice of singing men and singing women? Why then should your servant be a further burden to my master the sovereign? Your servant would only pass over the Jordan with the sovereign for a short distance. And why would the sovereign repay me with such a reward? Please let your servant turn back again to die in my own city, near the burying place of my father and mother. But here is your servant Kimham. Let him pass over with my master the sovereign, and do for him what is good in your eyes. And the sovereign answered, Kimham is passing over with me, and let me do for him what is good in your eyes. Now whatever you choose of me, I do for you. Then all the people went over the Jordan. And when the sovereign had passed over, the sovereign kissed Barzillai and barak him, which means blessed him, and he returned to his own place. And the sovereign passed over to Gilgal, and Kimham passed over with him. And all the people of Yehudah brought the sovereign over, and also half the people of Yisrael. And see, all the men of Yisrael were coming to the sovereign. And they said to the sovereign, Why have our brothers, the men of Yehudah, stolen you away and brought the sovereign and his household, and all David's men with him over the Jordan? And all the men of Yehudah answered the men of Yisrael, Because the sovereign is our relative. And why are you displeased over this matter? Have we at all eaten at the sovereign's cost, or has he given us any gift? And the men of Israel answered the men of Yehudah, and said, We have 10 parts in the sovereign, and in David too. We have more than you. Why then did you despise us? Was it not our advice first to bring back our sovereign? But the words of the men of Yehudah were harsher than the words of the men of Israel. In chapter 20. And there came to be a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a ram's horn and said, We have no part in David, nor do we have inheritance in the son of Yishai, each one to his tents, O Yisrael. Then all the men of Israel deserted David to follow Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Yehudah from the Jordan as far as Jerusalem clung to their sovereign. And David came to his house at Jerusalem. And the sovereign took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to look after the house, and put them in a protected house, and supported them, but did not go into them. So they were shut up to the day of their death, living in widowhood. And the sovereign said to Amasa, Call the men of Yehudah for me within 3 days, and be present here yourself. And Amasa went to call the men of Yehudah, but he delayed longer than the appointed time which David had appointed him. And David said to Abishai, Now Sheba son of Bichri is going to do us more evil than Absalom. Take the servants of your master and pursue him, lest he find for himself walled cities and escape us. And then the men of Joab went out after him with the Kerethites and the Pelethites and all the mighty men. And they went out of Jerusalem to pursue Sheba son of Bichri. When they were near the large stone which is in Gabon, Amasa came before them, and Joab was dressed in battle armor, and on it was a girdle with a sword fastened in its sheath at his hips. And as he went forward, it fell out. And Joab said to Amasa, Peace, my brother. And Joab took Amasa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him. But Amasa was not on guard against the sword in Joab's hand, and he struck him with it in the stomach, and his inward parts poured out on the ground, and he did not do so again, and he died. Then Joab and Abishai his brother pursued Sheba son of Bichri. And a man, one of Joab's men, stood beside him and said, Whoever is well pleased with Joab, and whoever is for David, let him follow Joab. And Amasa was rolling in his blood in the middle of the highway. And the man saw that all the people stood still. So he moved Amasa from the highway to the field and threw a garment over him. When he saw that everyone who came upon him halted. When he was removed from the highway, all the men passed on after Joab to pursue Sheba son of Bichri. And he passed over through all the tribes of Israel to Abel, and to Beth Maacah, and to all the Berites. And they were assembled and went after him too. And they went and besieged him and Abel of Beth Maacah, and they cast up a siege mound against the city. And it stood in a rampart, and all the people who were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then a wise woman called out from the city, Listen, listen, please say to Joab, Come nearby so that I speak to you. So he came near to her, and the woman said, Are you Joab? And he answered, I am. Then she said to him, Listen to the words of your female servant. And he answered, I am listening. Then she spoke, saying, In former times they often spoke, saying, Let them inquire of Abel. And so it ended. I am of the peaceable and trustworthy ones in Israel. You seek to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why do you swallow up the inheritance of Yahuwah? And Joab answered and said, Far be it from me to swallow up or to destroy. That is not the case. But a man from the mountains of Ephraim, Sheba son of Bichri by name, has raised his hand against the sovereign, against David. Hand him over, him alone, and I withdraw from the city. And the woman said to Joab, Look, his head is going to be thrown to you over the wall. So the woman in her wisdom went to all the people, and they cut off the head of Sheba son of Bichri and threw it out to Joab. Then he blew a ram's horn, and they dispersed from the city, each one to his tent. And Joab returned to the sovereign at Jerusalem. Now Joab was over all the army of Israel, and Benaiah son of Jehoiada was over the Kerethites and the Pelethites. And Adoram was over the compulsory labor, and Jehoshaphat son of Ahilud was recorder, and Shua was scribe, and Zadok and Abiathar were the Kohanim. And Ira the Yairite was Kohen, again priest to David. In chapter 21. And there was a scarcity of food in the days of David for 3 years, year after year. And David sought the face of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah answered, because of Shaul and his bloodthirsty house, because he killed the Gibeonites. The sovereign therefore called the Gibeonites and spoke to them. Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn protection to them, but Shaul had sought to kill them in his ardor for the children of Israel in Yehudah. So David said to the Gibeonites, What should I do for you? And with what do I make atonement, so that you barak, which means bless, the inheritance of Yahuwah? And the Gibeonites said to him, It is no matter of silver or gold between us and Shaul or his house, neither is it for us to put to death any man in Israel. And he said, "Whatever you say, I do for you." And they said to the sovereign, "The man who consumed us and plotted against us that we should be destroyed from remaining in all the border of Israel, let 7 men of his sons be given to us, and we shall hang them before Yahuwah in Gibeah of Shaul, whom Yahuwah chose." And the sovereign said, "I give them." But the sovereign spared Mephibosheth, son of Jehonathan, son of Shaul, because of the oath of Yahuwah that was between them, between David and Jehonathan, son of Shaul. And the sovereign took the 2 sons of Ritzpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bore to Shaul, Armoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Shaul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Maholathite, and gave them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them on the hill before Yahuwah. So the 7 fell together and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days at the beginning of barley harvest. And Ritzpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for herself on the rock, from the beginning of the harvest until the late rains poured on them from the Shamayim, which is the heavens. And she did not allow the birds of the Shamayim to rest on them. And she did not allow the birds of the Shamayim to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And David was informed what Ritzpah, the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Shaul, had done. And David went and took the bones of Shaul, and the bones of Jehonathan his son, from the men of Jabesh Gilead, who had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Pelishites had hung them up, after the Pelishites had struck down Shaul in Gilboa. And he brought the bones of Shaul and the bones of Jehonathan his son from there, and they gathered the bones of those who had been hanged, and buried the bones of Shaul and Jehonathan his son in the land of Benjamin in Selah, and the tomb of Kish his father, and did all that the sovereign commanded. And after that Elohim heard prayer for the land. And the Pelishites were again fighting against Israel, so David and his servants with him went down and fought against the Pelishites. And David was weary, and Yishbo Benob, who was one of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose bronze spear was 300 pieces, who was bearing a new sword, spoke of killing David. But Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to help him, and smote the Pelishite and killed him. Then David's men swore to him, saying, "Do not go out with us to battle any more, lest you put out the lamp of Israel." And it came to be afterward that there was a battle again with the Pelishites at Gob. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite smote Saph, who was one of the sons of the giant. And there was a battle with the Pelishites again at Gob, where Elhanan, son of Oregim, the Bethlehemite, smote Goliath the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was a battle in Gath again, where there was a man of great height, who had 6 fingers on each hand, and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number. And he also was descended from the giants. Then he reproached Israel, and Jehonathan, son of Shimi, the brother of David, smote him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. And that concludes our reading for today. Thanks for joining. I hope you've been reading along, and peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.